اللهم اجعل القرآن العظيم ربيع قلوبنا ونور صدورنا وجلاء.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, viewers. My name is Mutiat Olubalogun. I'm a legal practitioner and also the Executive Director, Hijab Rights Advocacy Initiative. Today, I am on Ask the Ustaz on Al-Munawwarah Media, and we shall be discussing Beyond the Kitchen in Ramadan, Strengthening the Muslim Home. Ramadan is the month of fasting. As Allah commanded us in Surah Al-Baqarah, that fasting was prescribed upon us as it was prescribed on those before us, that we may become pious. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. Ramadan is popular as the month of fasting. However, within our cultures, almost every culture in the world that I can think of, a lot of times, Ramadan is also viewed as the month of food. Maybe because we are fasting, and by the time we are trying to break our fast, we believe that we are meant to, take something that is special than what we take, on the ordinary days. So you find out that you have a lot of cooking shows in Ramadan. You find out that within cultures, there is more cooking in Ramadan, even though we are fasting the whole of the day. You find out that the bulk of that cooking also falls on women and girls within the family. And so they spend a lot of their time cooking or preparing for meals during the month of Ramadan. So is this actually an ideal situation? While it is a very common situation, I would say it is not ideal. Because the purpose of Ramadan is to fast, is to reflect, is to become close to Allah, is to develop those habits that we can carry on beyond Ramadan that will ensure our piety and being conscious of Allah. However, we find out that in a lot of our cultures, we focus so much on the cooking, on how glamorous or how nutritious. Nutritious is good, though, but how glamorous it is or how many varieties that we have, rather than focusing, on the ibadah sometimes. And you find out that a lot of Muslim women have been told, or it is a common thing that we hear in, the society, to say the fact that you are cooking or that you're cooking alone covers all your ibadah. So if you don't have time to read the Quran, if you don't have time to do your tarawih, if you don't have time to do your tahajjud, the fact that you are cooking in the kitchen, you already have your reward. Now, while that might be true in an extent, it does not mean that a Muslim woman is absolved from also doing all those ibadah. So it is very important that we discuss that it is not ideal that majority of Muslim women and girls will spend the bulk of their time in Ramadan in the kitchen or in the market preparing for meals, rather than also engaging in those activities and gaining the blessings of Ramadan. Yes. While we know that there is, apart from this conversation we are having, we cannot easily change that culture or tell people that they are not going to be eating meals again in Ramadan. We still have to eat because we are human beings. We are sustained by food. We still have to eat every day. However, for my sisters, we need to plan. The first form of planning is to plan our ibadah and then also plan our cooking times and see how, when they overlap, we can turn that cooking into ibadah. First of all, if we can meal prep, if you stay in a place where you have good electricity and you have facilities like freezers or dehydrators or ovens, you can plan your meals ahead of Ramadan. You can have your pepper mix, you can have your soups, your stews, you can cook them, freeze them before Ramadan. You can have your meat, your chicken, put them in the oven, get it dried out, and keep them so that you can use them easily before Ramadan. If you are someone that uses a lot of vegetables, you can prepare them ahead of time and freeze them in a Ziploc. Or if you have, there are ways that you can preserve the food or cook them halfway For instance, like beans, you can cook it halfway, your soups, your stews, so that when you want to use them, you are spending less time in the kitchen. The second thing is that your intention really, really matters. It is the intention that takes an act from just an ordinary mundane act to become ibadah. So you must always have that consciousness in your heart that I am entering into this kitchen and it's going to be ibadah for me. I want to provide nutritious meals for my family, for my neighbors, for my friends, so that we can all fast and gain reward from Allah. And so therefore that will also count for us as ibadah. You can also schedule some things to your cooking time. For instance, you have a particular tafsir that you listen to, or you want to listen to recitation of the Quran. You should schedule those ones during your cooking time. So while you are cooking, you can have your phone or your radio or whatever device you're going to use and play that tafsir during that time, or play the verse of the Quran during that time. Or you can even listen to the meaning of the Quran in any language you understand, maybe your local language or even in English language, and play the audio while you are in the kitchen cooking. So if you are going to spend an hour in the kitchen cooking, you have listened to the Quran for 1 hour. You can also do your askar, whether it's your morning askar, your evening askar, or you can just be doing normal dhikr, subhanallah, bihamdi, subhanallah, lazim, astaghfirullah, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, la ilaha illallah, Muhammadu Rasulullah, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. You can all continue to do your askar while you are cooking. So even if you spend an hour in the Quran, in the kitchen, you can have spent an hour listening to the Quran, you could have spent an hour listening to tafsir, you could have spent an hour doing subhanallah, bihamdi, subhanallah, lazim, you could have spent an hour doing istighfar. So whenever you are in the kitchen, that we know we cannot escape it, you should first have the intention that this cooking is an ibadah, and secondly, add other ibadah to it that is compatible with cooking. Yes, before Ramadan, it is very important. I read it in a particular book about 3 or 4 years ago, that it is ideal for every family when Ramadan is coming to have a meeting. It is even ideal for every Muslim family to have family meetings, from time to time. But it is more ideal when the month of Ramadan is coming to have a meeting. And I can remember there was a particular year that I had such meeting in the past, because my children were young and I always wanted to encourage them to fast. I would prepare whatever meals they wanted. So if they wanted this meal for sahur and they wanted this one for iftar, so I found out that for sahur, sometimes I might cook up to 3 meals. The children want different meals. Their father wants different meals. I'm cooking up to 3 or 4 meals at sahur, and at iftar, I'm cooking for what everybody wants, just because I wanted to encourage them. And of course, it got to a particular year that I felt, okay, they are old enough now. We had a family meeting for me to say, okay, in Ramadan this year, bismillah, this is the category of food we are going to be eating for iftar. This is the category of food we are going to be eating for sahur. We have to reduce the time. And then we also agreed on taking simple meals. On the day that's probably I'm off salat, that I have strength, maybe I'm not fasting, I take my time to cook maybe elaborate meals, for them. I always assume that is another act of ibadah. So for about a week within Ramadan, I have time to cook maybe meal prep for other days, and even cook more elaborate meals for them, so that it will not be that it is only throughout Ramadan we are only eating simple meals. And then we talk about it to say, this Ramadan we want to maximize our ibadah. This is what I want to do, my intention. I intend to read so and so Quran, to read so and so tafsir, to try to listen to the lecture of so and so imam every day, to try to attend Tarawih in the mosque, or pray Tarawih as a Jama'ah at home every day in Ramadan. And so we are able to come together to have an agreement to say, okay, this is what we are going to do for Ramadan. This is how we are going to simplify the task. And also to be able to delegate, to be able to say, okay, daddy will help with this, mommy will help with this, the children are going to do this. Immediately after sahur, we are going to wash the plates, so that, one doesn't get overwhelmed during the day. We start preparing for iftar this time. We close our kitchen this time, so that everybody can go and do ibadah. So it is very imperative that before Ramadan starts, you have a meeting with your family. Now that Ramadan has even started, yes, we can still have that meeting, just a particular night after Tarawih, to say, okay, as Ramadan is going, before the last 10 days, for us to be able to utilize all the benefits of Ramadan. This and this are what we are going to do. This and this are what we are going to suspend until Ramadan is over. And I think that helps a lot. If you can let your family know what to expect, and they also know what you are expecting them to do, it also goes a long way to help you not to spend all your time in the kitchen. First of all, for self-care tips for women, we must change our mindset. We should know that with regards to ibadah, with regards to our spiritual life, we are equal to the men and we have the same responsibilities like the men. So it is compulsory on the men to pray, to fast, to pay zakah, to go for hajj, to believe in Allah as one, and to follow his Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as his last and final messenger. This is also compulsory on women. And so we should not, all those things that are compulsory for us to do spiritually, we should not water it down just because we have a lot of responsibilities in Ramadan. Women should also know that Allah has told us in Surah Al-Azab that إِنَّ الْمُسْلِمِينَ وَالْمُسْلِمَاتِ وَالْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ وَالْقَانِتِينَ وَالْقَانِتَاتِ till the end of that verse. And Allah said, أَعَدَ اللَّهُ لَهُمْ مَغْفِرَةً وَأَجْرًا عَظِيمًا. I have promised them both, any of them that falls into this category, ajran azim, magfiratan, forgiveness, wa ajran aziman, and what? And a great reward. So we should know that all those qualities that Allah wants in men, He also wants them in women. And some of those qualities, those that are fast, men and women, Allah wants to also see you as a woman. So the fact that we might have some gender roles, whether culturally, whether religiously, that might take us, take us more time. Maybe we are rearing the home, taking care of children, we are pregnant. Yes, those are also rewarding acts. But also those spiritual acts, we are also required to do them as much as we are capable of. We know we may not be able to do as much as the men. So men can sit down for 2 hours straight, 3 hours straight during the tilawah of the Quran. A woman, you might not be able to have that block of a time. But if you have 10 minutes here, 20 minutes here, break it down and make sure that you do it. Secondly is that you must eat nutritional foods. Sometimes because you are the one that you have cooked the meals, you now become so overwhelmed that you are not able to eat. The only thing you do is maybe you take dates, you now take juice, you just take liquid, and you are full. You are not eating nutritional meals. And so you are not healthy enough to be able to give your best to Ramadan. You must also have enough sleep. After your Taraweeh, go to bed. Maybe others might want to say, okay, they want to do not loud, they want to do. It is early that you go to. It is very important that you go to bed early so that you can wake up early, quickly prepare the sahur, and then focus on your ibadah. By the time you have prepared the sahur, and even sometimes you might serve it, on the dining table or in a container that won't make it cold, depending on what your family prefers, and go and do your ibadah. And all of you have a time that you converge to come and have your meals so that you can also concentrate. So it is important that you sleep early. Then also take your vitamins. If you are somebody that's maybe you're over 40, you're taking vitamins, or even below, you need to take vitamins. If you are not eating as well as you should, and a lot of times you cannot, all the micronutrients that we need, or speak with your healthcare provider, take your vitamins. If you have any medication that you are meant to be using for any chronic illness or otherwise, you must make sure that you ask the healthcare provider when is the best time for you to use it. Use them. And then also hydrate. Take a lot of water. Take a lot of water. The weather is hot nowadays. You need to really take a lot of water. Sometimes you need something extra, like taking the ORS, the oral rehydration therapy. You can take it during sahur. We also hydrate you during the day. But check with your healthcare provider before you take any of this. Ask if it is okay. You might have an illness or a condition that might not permit you to take that. So always check with your healthcare provider. Then involve your children, involve your family in things to do. You can tell your children, oh, get the dates ready. Oh, get this person to get. Try as much as possible to delegate. When you delegate, the load on you will be lighter. And so you are not going to be so overwhelmed. And you have extra time to do ibadah. I've mentioned it before. Take simple meals. Take simple meals. Take meals that can be converted into something else. For instance, you can make rice and have rice and stew today. The next day, it can be rice and beans. You can add beans to it to make fried stew. The remaining beans, the third day, you can add dodo to it to make beans and dodo. Make meals that can be converted into other meals so that it is very easy for you. If you are someone that takes pap every day, some days make the pap larger and add more or akara to it. And let that be your meal for the night. You don't need to take any other additional meals. Don't overeat. When you overeat, you become heavy. You will want to sleep all day and you will not have the time to do that ibadah. Then ask Allah for help. Ask Allah for help. It is Allah that makes things easy. Always do the dua. Allahumma la sa'alan illa ma ja'alta sa'alan wa anta taj'al hazna idha shi'ta sa'alan wa bi yasr wa la tu'assir wa ja'al umurana sa'alan yasira. Make duas. Ask Allah for ease in everything that you do. And always do the dua. Rabbana taqabbal minna innaka antas sami'un alim. And always have good intention for everything you are doing. You are taking care of your children. You are changing their diapers. You are breastfeeding. You are taking care of your husband. You are going to work. You are putting your best in road. You are smiling at somebody in the bus stop. Always have good intention that I'm doing this for Ibadah. And so you also be among those that have benefited in this month of Ramadan. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us among those that benefit in this month of Ramadan.
اللهم اجعل القرآن العظيم ربيع قلوبنا ونور صدورنا وجلاء